Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. 2 days ago, on the 22nd of May 2025, the President of the Russian Federation, Vladimir Putin, ordered his military the creation of a buffer zone on the Ukrainian territory. An expert explained that this buffer zone would be at minimum 100 kilometers from the Russian border with Ukraine, wherever that's going to be set. That's a key word. Wherever that's going to be set, 100 kilometers in the Ukrainian territory, and that is 60 miles. The reason behind all this is the Ukrainians don't have artillery potential to strike more than 60 miles. Therefore, they protect the Russian population in Russia per se, because these guys cannot hit over this. And in this area of 100 kilometers, 60 miles, will be no Ukrainian or Russian, from what I understood, military. Nothing. It's going to be Ukrainians living over there, but no military. Now, it depends where this border will be located. And everything sounds okay from, yeah, all right, I understand that. But then there's a little problem. How are you going to enforce that in the territories that you did not occupy yet? Or you didn't, attack yet, bombarded yet? And those territories are Chernihiv Oblast, Sumy Oblast, and part of Kharkov Oblast. I'm going to show you over the map where those three oblasts are located. I'm not talking about the line of contact, but the one there's not really a line of contact yet. I mean, yeah, there were some incursions left and right. The Russians are going to open a new front on this 3 or 2 or 1 oblast, because so far nothing happened in Chernihiv. It happened in Sumy, and I'm going to show you, and it happened in Kharkiv. This is the map of Ukraine. This is the contact zone right here. So I made a video on the 22nd regarding Putin's plan. Putin orders creation of buffer zone in Ukraine, 100 kilometer, no Kiev control, no NATO, carving Ukraine. And this is a map that was, shown including Belarus over there. Now you see this is about 100 kilometers, not really, but it is. But I'm talking about this area. I understand this one where you have the fighting going on, the line of contact, but here, how are you going to enforce? I tell you, the Russians plan on entering here and here, opening a new front here. This is according to Russia Today, 23rd of May 2025. A new front is not a question mark, a new front. Russia expands into Ukraine to build a military buffer zone. Putin's buffer zone aims to create space, both literally and politically, from Ukraine's firepower. So that means, right here, that the Russians will have somehow to enter this in order to create right over there. They have to enter, and they are entering it. I'm going to show you. And the reason behind that is this. Sputnik, 6 hours ago today on the 24th of May 2025, Ukraine struck Kursk region on May 22nd by HIMARS system, according to the Russians. Now, the Americans said that their weapons will not be used in order to strike inside Russia per se, which is right here. This is Kursk. This is the border. Now, the Russians claim the Ukrainians used HIMARS to bombard something in here. The Americans said, we're going to give you the HIMARS, but don't hit inside Russia. You can hit inside here, where's the front line and all that, but not in Russia. And the Ukrainians and Zelensky, with his big lie, said, swear, I will not do that. Trust me, I would never lie to you. That's exactly what Zelensky said. And all of us were like, really? So, is it true about this one? I have no idea, but this is what the Russians report. And therefore, this is needed, according to the Russians. So now, this was the Russian reasoning. The Ukrainians said, how about we do the buffer zone in Russia? I think that was really a comical, ridiculous statement, since you are losing and you're all blooded, you want to make jokes. The serious is very matter. The matter is very serious. So let's read this article a little bit and see what they say. Russian President Vladimir Putin has officially announced the establishment of a security buffer zone along the border with Ukraine. Russian troops, according to the Kremlin, have already been ordered to push ahead and are actively targeting Ukrainian military positions near the frontier. The move is aimed at protecting Russian regions far from the front line, particularly, look at this one, Belgorod, Bryansk, and Kursk. Got it? Bryansk, Kursk, Belgorod. These are right there. It's not a line of contact. Not this one is here. So Putin said, we're going to enter here now. This is the new front, baby doll. All right, let's see what else these guys say. Which have faced frequent shelling, drone strikes, as well as sabotage missions launched by Ukrainian forces. While talk of such zone has circulated since 2023, Putin's declaration marks a shift from concept to concrete policy. Here's what this decision means, what it could look like militarily, and why the Kremlin is pursuing it now. This is the reason why, according to Russians and drones, the long-awaited announcement. So he did this. All right. President spokesperson Dmitry Peskov confirmed the decision but declined to provide specifics, deferring to the Ministry of Defense. What is known is that the buffer zone would span areas bordering Ukraine in the three oblasts I mentioned: Belgorod, Bryansk, Kursk. I'm going to show you it again. Belgorod, Bryansk, Kursk. These three right here. It's clear. And it says, from a military standpoint, a buffer or sanitary zone serves as a physical barrier meant to reduce the risk in direct clashes and provocations. These zones can be demilitarized, have restricted troop presence, or be fully occupied by military forces functioning as strategic cushion. Historical parallels include Israel's security zone in southern Lebanon, Turkey cross-border operations in northern Syria, the DMZ between North and South Korea, and the so-called gray zones between Armenia and Azerbaijan prior to the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. Putin hinted at the need for such a zone as early as June 2023, citing the importance of denying Ukrainian forces the ability to strike Russian territory with artillery. Got it? Here, lawmakers and military analysts have voiced support. The State Duma has proposed a buffer depth at least 50 to 60 kilometers, equipped with air defenses and counter-drone systems. Dmitry Medvedev suggested that if Ukraine receives more long-range weapons, the zone might need to stretch even deeper, potentially, hold yourselves, 550 to 650 kilometers to neutralize threats. That's exactly what I said. I said many times before. What if Ukraine or the sponsors decide to send, something that hits 500 kilometers? That means you have to push the border. It means you're going to be in a continuous attack. What if it's 3,000? You're going to go to what? You're going to go to the Atlantic Oceans? You're going to go to to Porto? You're going to go to Portugal? Are you going to do that to Spain? So, let me show the map here. Here. So we have this. The 100 kilometers I already looked on the map in this video, and it's about this distance right here. Okay, so not almost to Kiev, but not to Kiev. Now this is 100. Take this as a 100. Now 500 is 5 times that, correct? So that would be about here. So if you go from here, 500 is going to be right here. So I'm taking at least half of Ukraine. That is right here. Advance, you're going to go straight to Romania. And you're going to have, obviously, Odessa. On this right here, calculate like this. 100 is where my strong hand is, right? 100 kilometers. About that. Like that. Right? Now if they go 500, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's going to be about here. And there's going to be here is going to be the Polish intervention. There's going to be Polish land. Probably here is going to be Hungarian and not Romanians because they're imbeciles. So they want to do shit. That's my point. That's why right here in this video I put in the title Carving Ukraine. Carving Ukraine, because I know what these guys are about to do. That's why I said in that video, Ukraine, you bet on the wrong horse. And that is NATO, the Western guys who never lied. Never lied. Not that the Russians never lied either. But I'm just saying, these guys, as we in the former communist or socialist countries with communist parties, people coming from outside, from the West, were telling us how fantastic the guys in the West are. Yes, some are not. But we were not told about the nuts. The nuts were told by the party and their education system. Told us, oh, everything bad about the exploitation of a human being, by a human being. This was the whole thing. So everything was taken by these guys as an exploitation. Capitalism is exploitation. That was the definition. Marxism, Leninism, and that's it. So we didn't hear about the American Constitution. No, I read it after the communists left. And I said, oh my God, this is something maybe bigger than the Magna Carta. But without the Magna Carta, you wouldn't have the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States of America. And not because I live and I'm a US citizen. It's because that's the reality. Put it in the context of 1776 or 1778 or 800. Put it in that context. People did not know how to wipe their butts then. I'm just exaggerating. And please read it. Please read the Federalist papers. Read how deep those guys are. By whom? By a 27-year-old guy. Go and check out who wrote the Constitution and who wrote the Declaration of Independence. Not a 80-year-old, neither 60, not a 50. Neither 40. They were a 27-year-old and a 32, if I remember correctly. Those guys. Now, go back in your life, I can go in mine, and see if you can come up with that. But remember the context. It was such a revolutionary paper. We didn't learn about it. So let's go back to this guy. So we were taught by the guys who lived in the West, instead of saying we're actually having this car is rented, but I'm not gonna tell you this Mercedes is rented. You will never find out. This is my car. Yeah, man, I'm doing. It's doing fantastic in Western Germany. Fantastic. In America. Yeah, man, I got over there a ranch, man. A ranch is like, man, everything is good, man. And go over there and be, assembly guy at GM, if lucky, or a pipe layer or something. I'm not discarding this, but it was the reality. We didn't know. We couldn't verify. And they came all dressed and all nice. And man, America is like this, man. In Deutschland is like this. And we were like, oh my God, wow. The German, Germano Yashama, the German guy is like this, man. Ein Mann, ein Wort. The Americans are like this, man. No, man. If you have a big, these were the stories, like as I explained them to you, with exact infatuation, over there in America, in the West, in a capitalist system, if you have the patron, the owner of the business, the guy who owns the business, and he has a son, he would never hire his son in a position of power like a director. No, man, no, it's his money, man. He doesn't want to, he's going to have his, I remember this, my friends, and I was like, oh my God. He's going to hire his son as the janitor. He's going to start as the janitor. And we were like, God. And from the janitor, if the son proves himself, he's going to be advanced to, like laborer. Wow. And from laborer, if he proves that he's good enough, he's going to be advanced to foreman. And then maybe to a job superintendent, and maybe to the regional director, if he deserves. If he doesn't, the father will not promote his son. And we were like, damn, that's a lie. When I came here, no, that's a fucking lie. There are some of them, but you tell me. Look at whomever you want. You want to look at Trump? Trump appointed his daughter and her Jared Kushner as the senior advisor for the Middle East. I would like to know Kushner's credentials for that, just because he's Jewish. And remember, that's just an example. You want Biden? I can show you Biden, right? You look at Burisma and look at his son. And not only that, it's many examples in America. Look, if you want, to the connections, the blood connections in the US Senate or in the Congress. And you're going to find about 25% of those people are first relationship, like husband and wife, son and parents, siblings and parents, they are 25% in the elected, not in appointed. Remember, the US government is not owned by those guys. Supposedly it's owned by us. We own it by electing people to represent us over there. And it's about 25%. It was an article, I read it about 15 years ago. You can find it. Just Google it a little bit. Go to the CIA Google and you're going to find it. CIA, why? See how Google came into place with all these guys. Yes. All right. So that was a lie. So don't trust those guys. The Ukrainians fell for it, unfortunately. The Americans are coming. The Germans are coming. How do you think they expand? Just by, giving candy for free? When a bank helps you, or a bank comes and gets you, and after you're dead, it's going to move to another host. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me again today. So the buffer zone is clear. The longer the range, the deeper the buffer zone. If you put 2,000 miles range for the Ukrainians, the Russians will go past Warsaw. They're going to go definitely to Berlin. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.